Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Long and Thick podcast with your two Christmas-loving uncles. Hence me asking Daniel moments ago how he felt about Christmas.
Do you even like this fucking holiday?
Wait a second. Before I say this, can I say this? We are back. This week, we are diving into a little bit more of the L&T tea, if you will, some of the lore of our own holiday conundrums and bliss and merriment. And so we figured, tis the season. It's a good time to dive into just some of our own experiences. And we're making do with some of the joys that life has presented us thus far. Daniel, how are you on this fine Wednesday? This is new.
Yeah. This is a strange one. So, it's been a joyous week for the most part. Couple unsuspected turns of events, that being my dear, loving, furry best friend decided to be a nosy little pervert per Home Alone time appropriate vibe. And ingest a couple pairs of my roommate's lady's underwear, to which she needed to be diced open and have that forcibly removed to the tune of a very large vet bill. So other than that, everything is awesome. This is a cool part of the year, always, like the spirits and everybody around it. I won't let it temper that kind of thing. It's just an unfortunate timing, but as we've talked at great length lately, it's just all how you reframe your mind. And it is doubly important to kind of retrain your brain to look for better things when things get really tough. So it has not been bad. He's doing well. I'm doing well. I'm stoked for the year-end wrap up and for us to talk about what we've done for these seasons and holidays in the past, and, really unearth some silliness of what we've done for Christmas and New Year's before. So it's all been good in the hood. How about you?
Man, I mean, my grief doesn't compare. I have been quoted. I'm quoting my dentist that I am a Olympic level teeth grinder in the evening.
Oh, and what a throne to have!
Right? Like, what are you really good at? Well, fucking crushing my bones. So I did such a good job that I cracked my back most molar and had to have that excavated. And so I'm in the meaty aftermath of a little metal socket in my mouth. So
Merry Christmas, my dog.
That's all right. Put me through the fucking metal scanner now. That's right. I'm like a 1/97th of the degree cyborg that you are. So I feel like, hopefully
you're
I don't
on your way,
up.
dude. Yeah. We're getting you closer to completion, baby.
Soon we'll be one. It's not going to be long and thick. It'll just be like,
it'll just be a shitty little megazord that fuses together.
Hell yeah, dude. That's right.
I wish anyone else thought this was as funny as we do, but fucking, I love it.
There'll be one. We're going to get a text that's just like, dude, hell yeah. I can't wait till Megazord is born. Fucking new Pokemon release.
The long and thick Zord.
That's right. Otherwise, I mean, all is well. I got to go rip some sauna hangs last night, which was really lovely over at Lolu, which was fun.
Hell yeah. Shout out Lolu. Fucking Subliminal Coffee, even though it's after hours for his operation.
I know. I was like sniffing around, looking like maybe JJ will, appear.
Pop out of the cooler.
Hell yeah. But other than that, things have been good, man. I
Nice.
do really love this time of year. The New Yorker in me like thrives in any degree of snowfall on the horizon. And so we had some little flurries here and there, maybe like, I don't know, a week ago or something like that. And I was like fucking kid in a candy store. So
nipples hard for Rockefeller Center.
That's right. Show me that fucking tree. But yeah, have you had any outrageous cups of coffee lately? I feel like we've done a poor job of like really.
So I fell off a little bit of my own pour over game. I got some really good stuff here too. I've only lightly dipped into it, and then was deep in espresso land, but a gasket on our espresso machine decided to get leaky. So I'm waiting for gaskets to come from Europe. So I've just kind of been twiddling my thumbs and, relying on some cold brew along the way. The errant energy drink here and there. So I need a good mind-blowing refresh cup of coffee for sure. What about you?
Dude, I feel exactly the same. I lament that I don't have that degree of, coffee expression in my house with the machine. But then in that exact moment, I'm like, thank God I don't, because one little fucking gasket blows like that and your happy songs are no longer. But it's just the nature of the beast.
It is unfortunate, but
we are
temporary.
overdue. Yeah, we're overdue.
So we just gotta go to Japan, is what you're saying.
Glitch tomorrow
that's
morning.
That's what I said. I was thinking, we can just be in Osaka, or Ginza by tomorrow night, maybe following morning.
That's right. Hop on the plane. Fuck yeah! Merry Christmas.
I'm saying that would be a fucking fantastic Christmas.
That's right. That's the way to do it. So in Christmas world, I want to dive into some of the holiday traditions that are special to ourselves. So I'll open the floor to you and sharing just if there are any traditions that are Colombo famous around the season.
So growing up with my family, I know everyone kind of approaches when gifts are done, when they're presented, when they're opened, whether it be an Eve thing, Christmas Day thing. Obviously, this is assuming that you celebrate Christmas and not Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or anything like that. But for me, traditions around that time, we'd always pretty much put everything out. Like the goal was no one knows that there's presents anywhere. And then you just have a tree with the little skirt and the lights and the ornaments. And then late Christmas Eve, everybody's personal Santa comes, and then you have a giant tree full of stuff. And you're like, oh,
hell yeah.
It's cool. That'll be fun tomorrow. So we were always a late putter upper, technical term, of presents on Eve, and only open all at once on Christmas, provided you don't have other stops to hit with other family members. So that was the go-to. For our family, it was kind of threefold. It would be cinnamon rolls in the morning. That happened both on Thanksgiving and Christmas. Those were usually the two go-tos. We just make cinnamon rolls in the morning. And then there'd generally be, for Christmas, my mom would do a lasagna. That was kind of the always going on thing. And then I would always do Martinelli's sparkling apple cider for like toasts and things like that. Yes. So
nice.
That was the trifecta. It was just be, lasagna, Martinelli's, and cinnamon buns, excuse me.
Oh yeah. Fuck, dude. You're getting my mouth watering. I'm like a Garfield Jr.
What about you?
Just like perks me up. I would say earlier in my childhood, when my mom's grandparent, or not her grandparents, my grandparents on my mom's side were around, we would do like I just like call it the German Christmas Eve, because that side of the family is German, but there really wasn't much German shit about it outside of drinking a lot. And we would sometimes go to like a 11 o'clock mass at the Lutheran church in town. And then either before or after that, we would do like a Christmas Eve, like you can open one gift. And typically we have like a rough idea. So like for me, it was like usually like a video game or something that I wanted to start playing or whatever. And then Christmas morning, we would always do like pancake breakfast and then just like little sit around and open a gift at a time and just sort of take turns ripping stuff. And sometimes Santa would come overnight. Sometimes the tree went up, like on the 24th, and it was like I remember one year there was like, my sister and I grabbed like a plant out of like a fucking garden somewhere and put little sparklies on it, and like that was our tree. It was like literally like this big. It was like the most outrageous thing.
It does the job.
literally, which just was the symbol. That was one of the better trees, I have to say. It was a good time.
Hell yeah.
Do you have
That's killer.
a worst Christmas? We'll start with the shit stain side of it.
Oh, worst Christmas. No, thankfully, no. Like, I mean, well, there has to be one by scale, but or by like spectrum. But yeah, thankfully I don't have any like horror stories that come to mind, like no like repressed trauma or
Sure.
anything like that. So I mean, I've had some lackluster ones. Last year was just pretty chill. It was transitional point in my life. It wasn't bad by any means. It was just unremarkable.
Yeah.
But what I do am it was great because of what it represented at the time. So we're going to turn I know we want to talk about this later and we will, but it was a very, very mundane Christmas that was the origin story to what we're doing right now, because we pretty much started talking about it and planning to execute it pretty much right before Christmas hit. So the Sunday before Christmas was our first recording ever. So while that's just a very special contrast to me, and I'm very appreciative of it, because otherwise it would have been just another Wednesday. We'll say. It would have been, nothing would have really happened at all. I was just like in a whole new living arrangement, whole new situation in my life. And we instead put this together, and it's been sick ever since. So that is probably the lowest and one of the highest points kind of juxtaposed. What about you? What's the worst Christmas on record?
Tell me your worst fucking memory. I agree. Fortunately, like I don't have one where it was like, holy shit, this was a nightmare. Like I feel like I hear a lot of stories of people dying on like Christmas Day, or like someone like commit suicide like Christmas Day, and now it's like, great, you have like stained this fucking holiday, regardless of if you celebrate or not. It just is like, at least in the US, like culturally a time where you're supposed to be either with a significant other or your family and doing stuff that is not usually like funeral based. So I don't have any of those either.
I feel for anybody who has that like mar on the record.
Yeah, it's really rough, because it's like, okay, every anniversary for you now is like that thing instead of the good stuff. I mean, that it is what it is, but I feel like I don't know. I remember one time we had some pretty funky family things going on, and this isn't really, it's sort of funny, but I remember my mom going like berserk because me and two of my sisters were like really argumentative with like taking like Christmas pictures, and she just like went fucking bananas because we were just being like difficult, like, and starting to be like a little, extra pain in the ass about it. But no real like, horrible things, fortunately. I will flip the script and go to my fondest so that you can then share.
I was about to say that would be my flipped script. I was literally almost verbatim about to say the same thing. But what is your top 3 best Christmas experiences / memories?
Good. I'm glad that it's not boiling to one. So, let's see. I would say, man, probably there's probably like the 2 bottom rung ones are around that same time, where I'm talking about like my grandparents' tradition stuff and just like having a little bit more like normal family experiences around that time and like structure. And then for sure, like number one time was when my family from Germany came over, and we did, I think, Christmas Eve at my old house, and we did like a huge like spiked cider in like a lobster pot boil. Like it was like fucking gallons of like this crazy drink and awesome food. It was snowing, like lights were out, like everything was just like dialed. And it was really fun, like being with my cousins, and we went to my uncle's house for Christmas the following day. And I remember having like a snowball fight. It was just so like quintessential, like childhood, Christmas, holiday, like all the stuff. And in Germany, you know, Christmas is a pretty big deal. There's crazy fucking Christmas markets, and it is like a big thing. And Krampus too. He's my hero. So,
fuck them kids.
That's right. Drag him out, Krampus. What about you? What's your what lives fondly?
I have like 4. Honestly, I'm trying to truncate it down to 3, but fuck it. We're American. We're all about excess and not following the rules. Eat shit. So one would be, so as a kid, I was really big into collecting Legos, and my parents often, even if like there wasn't a ton of stuff to like account for gift wise throughout the year, they'd usually go pretty hard for me, like within their means, for usually for Legos. And one year they just went, I really was enamored with all of the Wild West cowboy stuff. So I mean, they basically pulled the entire league of sets for that stuff, including the large like fort for all of like the officers, like Fort Legoredo, which is like at the time one of the biggest sets before they started getting crazy. And so that was a really fun one. That was awesome. Prior to that, we had done, and I didn't, it during and even closer proximity to it before now, I probably didn't appreciate as much as I do right now, but occasionally we would always go up to different parts of New York for Christmas. And one time we went to my mom's side of the family, which is rural Buffalo, like in the farmlands. And it was just a quintessential white Christmas. It was just perfect. And you know, you go outside for all day, you sit by a fire, warm yourself back up, and just hang with family. And my mom's side of the family is quite large with tons of siblings and cousins. So that was something that I wish I was able to not only appreciate more, but do more and be in a position to really not take that for granted. So, because when you're young, you're like, oh, like we're just doing this and then we'll do the next thing. Yeah. But as an adult, you're like, fuck, I wish I would have had more of that.
Agreed.
So that's 2. 3 was a really nice gesture and kind of 300 IQ move for my parents. So as I was becoming more aged and becoming more skeptical of the, you know, the last year that they sort of like got my faith back up, you know, somewhere in this higher single digit years. And I'm like, I mean, I've been hearing that this shit's not real. Like Santa's not real. Right. And for that particular Christmas morning, they put fucking like actual animal hair on the fucking cookies that the deer ate. They fucking literally put like snowshoe tracks around like the house. Awesome. And I was like, damn, like that was like the really innovative way to at least keep the faith going for one more year before it was soiled. So
damn,
shout out to my folks for being very creative on that one. And then the 4th one that was special. So, my most recent ex, it was one of the best surprises I've ever had on a birthday or a holiday, but we did a winter trip at Christmas to Idaho to go like hot springs chasing, which was super cool. And the unfortunate timing was the day that we left, pretty much down to the minute we were wheels up as the Nashville downtown Christmas bombing went off.
Oh my fuck.
Yeah, so we're completely oblivious. We were pretty much at the last flight out before that whole thing just got locked down. And we get to Denver to hit our connection, and our phones have like tons of calls and missed messages and all this kind of stuff. And everyone's concerned, and we're like, what is going on? And then we had to look at the news, and someone blew up downtown Nashville, and we're like, oh my God. But that trip wound up being very, very cool and special, and just getting lost in the mountains of Idaho in like negative 11 degree weather and doing hot springs that way. So that was a pretty cool way to spend a Christmas for sure. So shout out to that.
Damn. Fuck. Dude, that's like the worst thing too. Like the timing of being in the air. So you like, I mean, you can answer with Wi-Fi, whatever, but you know, you don't always have that on a flight, especially like shorter ones. And then all of a sudden bombarded that like 2-3 hour lull of like, fuck, he's not answering. What the fuck? Like, did they explode? Like, were they down there? Yeah.
Yeah, right. It was, and there's no way you could have prepared yourself for what was on the other side of those messages. People were like, "Are you okay? What exploded?" And we're like,
huh? Yeah.
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
is this the wrong message?
Yeah. Correct.
Damn.
Yeah. No, correct. So, taking everything that you've had where you've been and kind of where you want to go in kind of true long and thick Siggy like fashion, what would be your dream Christmas? What, where, how, and how are you taking your coffee?
Sing it again. What, where, and how's the coffee? So it's going to be, I haven't experienced this yet, so I am envisioning a nice morning in Germany, waking up Christmas Day after having done some really fucking rad stuff Christmas Eve, like through some of those markets. I would like to be with as much family as can fit in a place reasonably, and still not want to like blow each other's heads off. So maybe like little separate bunkers where we all happen to be staying in Germany, and everyone can go to their little nook respectively. Day would still start with some kind of fabulous craft cup of coffee. Germany's not really known for coffee, sadly. And pancakes up the fucking wazoo. And some good gift opening, some nice Christmas music playing around a nice tree. And then some kind of fun, like winter hike would be fucking divine. And it transforms into a early brunch spa time where now we're in some kind of jacuzzi world, maybe a hot spring. They don't also really exist there to my knowledge. And then some good traditional German style dinner and get fucking blasted.
Some brats, some schnitzels, and some beer.
That's right. And get absolutely lost in the Christmas sauce and tons of dessert and just feel like a fuck. Paint the picture for me. What's your version?
Kind of eerily similar in a way. I mean, I think for kind of that winter wonderlandy thing, it would be, I mean, England has some, Germany, Sweden has like really beautiful Christmas markets. So being able to do that one year, you know, my coffee might just be hot cocoa that particular day, or hot cocoa in the evening, and then a really just nice pour over or latte in the morning. But yeah, just being able to, if we could have, so if anyone has followed along, if we could have, we, whomever, could have an experience of gleeful, aimless, snowy exploration that we had, like we did in Kyoto.
Oh my God.
But in another town with coffee in hand around Christmas that was also aligned with Christmas festivities, and it just didn't happen to be on Christmas. That would be the dream for sure.
Sledding, some like winter shit. Yeah, like hooligans.
Go dap up a fucking reindeer. Be like, yo, what's up, dude? Like an actual one. You know?
Yep. Make a snowman. Yeah, all the shit. I will forever just like, I don't know. I love the lights. I love the whole shit. So trying to soak it all up.
Yeah, that would be my ideal way of going about it. Then we slide on through from Christmas to New Year's.
It's right here. So it's coming soon.
What are kind of like 3 things that you look forward to or potentially try to subvert when it comes to New Year's?
Yeah, I mean, I think back to some of the heart and soul of, you know, normal, long and thick convo, the health side, like you had said earlier, this started a year ago in a week and a half. And so like our goal and heart is that we normalize and make accessible just like good health and wellness practices. And I think it is just so marketed and tragic that every year, like fucking clockwork, like the weight loss, the gym stuff, the incentive to, metamorphose into this new being, as if January 1st is going to like launch you into this perpetual wonderland of discipline and mass change, is just like, it's such a lie. And the time to start was 25 years ago, and the next best time is this moment. And so,
yeah,
I think just like hammering in early that your fitness goals, your health and wellness pursuits do not, kick off January 1st. Don't kick the can down the road. That I think just needs to perish in all senses. Do you have things to add around that are like, especially like seeing the influx like in the gym, like, and then the fall off?
Yeah, I mean, it is. I will say there is a silver lining, because amidst the 90+% that do fall off, there still is a new 10% that actually do find the value and do stick with it. So trying to see the benefit there is that all is not lost when it comes to that pursuit. Now, is it a bit too much of a cliche? Is it a bit too of a silly tent pole that everyone just latches onto and most likely drops off from? Sure. But again, I still have to give credence where it's due, because it is a open portal that happens like clockwork to potentially usher in new people into the space that will stick with it and thus change your life for the better. So have to give credit where it's due, despite it being a kind of a corny cliche thing.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, do I think that as a starting point, or as something to look forward to as a way to usher yourself in? Yeah, I think it's silly. I think you should I want to be healthier, start right now. And so like a close substitute to that, one thing I liked, and this is more so aligned if you have family or children, but another good one that I like is people use the start of the school year as their kickoff. Because there already is a large restructuring for your entire life anyway, not just because the new year is happening. So that's a nice way to kickstart things. I thought that was a pretty novel and a good amount of ingenuity to do that, to kind of trick the human psyche. Like, well, we're already changing so much anyway, so might as well just run the gamut.
Yeah, that's true.
As far as anything resolution based, or we always talk about how predatory and how divisive the sales part of the internet is. And that's something that I wish would just kind of go away. And I understand that everyone needs to have a niche. I get it. But it's now like the verbiage around everything of just delineating everything down to a man or woman and their interest, and then how you can coach that one specific thing. I understand you can talk directly to someone's air quote avatar, but I mean, there's one, I think we saw the kind of the cheeky editorialized response to it, but it was just a woman being like, if you're a lesbian and you want to build muscle, you do this.
Yeah.
It's like that. No, if you are a human being and you want to build muscle,
right.
If you like what I'm about, if this is who I am and this is my lifestyle, you might be able to resonate with that. But don't just shoehorn that entire thing into a use case or a particular sales tactic for someone who aligns with that completely. I just think that's fucking annoying, and that's just the landscape that we're in now. But I'm gonna stop rambling.
No, I mean, I agree. I think all those, roads lead to the same Roman Empire of some degree of sneaking it in. And I do appreciate you bringing in the silver lining aspect of like, if this was the time, we talked about this a year ago, like if that is the time, so be it. Like, congratulations, like let it run. I just think that when people try to make these drastic changes like the likelihood of success, regardless of if it's fitness or not, if it's financial health, if it's relationship dynamic changes, if it's your boundaries with work, like you name the thing, if you try to just like 180-degree fucking turn it on its head, it probably isn't going to stick. And so, you know, you're much better off segueing in now. You reduce a lot of the pressure and social expectation that comes with like, hey, I made this big, I'm doing the 75 hard and now hold me accountable. And then what? And, you know, we've talked about that as well. And I just think it's just an important time to remind folks that like, we need to reduce down to the simplicity of be consistent and sprinkle in little things consistently. And if you keep ramping up, so be it. Good. You're on a much better path.
100%.
Reflecting on some of 2025 in terms of just like the fitness things, do you feel like there's been any like humongous shifts in terms of the social norms? The big thing that's like ringing in my head is like the Ozempic blast off, and like, you know, February of last year we were talking about is this good, bad, or otherwise? And
that would be the main one. I mean, I feel like this year specifically, and not that it wasn't. So a year or two ago, I think it was being okay with glorifying performance enhancing drugs on an influencer level. I feel like now it is still very much in that same ballpark, but now it's more so on designer peptides. So there's a lot more people screaming from the rooftops, things that will help your metabolism, your mitochondria, your cellular turnover, your aging, your growth hormone, your ability to have better insulin sensitivity and manage your diet, like, you know, GLP-1. So that it's tough when, is this a good tool? Yes. Can this help a lot of people? Yes. But the minute you have celebrities endorsing it on TV ads, it's going to do way more harm than good. And I'm not here to judge or criticize, but if you look at any of the, you know, there's several celebrities now that have all made appearances that just look absolutely sickly. And they're unfortunately possibly permanently altering themselves for the worse. And just because it's an easy, accessible thing that we humans love to get something for nothing. And there is a something, they're paying something, they just don't realize it yet. And you know, the whole peptide craze and people being more accepting of it is what I've seen the most this year. Is everyone's going for something.
Yeah.
As you're saying, going away either, but as you're sharing those thoughts, the thing that sort of sticks in my mind as like a 2025 thing that I wish would shift in the coming year. I'm going to explain this very clearly so I'm not misunderstood here, is the overarching like body enabling. And what I mean by that is the biggest thing that has come up as you were talking, I think of like the Wicked cast and seeing interviews after this second movie. And there's obviously so much going on behind the scenes. There's so many things that no one can know about looking at somebody else's body and just understanding what they've been through, what they're navigating, diseases, mental health things, you name the list. But there still is like this odd enabling that I think exists in our hope of being very like politically correct and seemingly loving when we don't like go a level deeper. Like someone could look at me and be like, you're way too thin. And they don't know my blood work and XYZ and whatever. I'm doing fine. But when we look at other people and they're starting to touch the extremes of either end of that like weight spectrum, and that's not the only piece of the puzzle here. I just feel like there's been this
there's this like bell curve that exists in society forever that is like this mass acceptance, like saying FAGGOT and the R word and anything and everything is totally kosher and no one's offended by anything, and then it hyper corrects and then it swings back up and so on and so forth. And I feel like we're in this weird part of that sway where no one is allowed to criticize somebody else's health decisions. And I think it just speaks back to the importance of like community and deep friendships, right? Like where if you saw some funky shit going on with me, you probably say something because you're less concerned with hurting my feelings than me like going down a further steps down a road that's probably not great for my like overarching life.
Yeah. And there's been a couple of things shared on the internet, but yeah, we are in a really strange place where everyone needs maximal acceptance and support. And if you're not, you're either a bigot or you're discriminating or you are seething in some way, which is not the case. You can raise a question and hopefully they have an answer that justifies behavior without you affronting that somebody. It's just, hey, this looks kind of weird. Can you help me understand that? I'm not shaming you, but
right.
We are health practitioners. So when it comes down to something that is either you are far too overfed or underfed, and it shows, and we know what these signs are, as well as the comorbidities that happen when you are on either one of these extremes. Like we're you and I, and most people probably also too, are coming from a place like we don't want to see you die prematurely. Just call a spade a spade. So when you see someone who at one point in their life, several years ago, i.e. a celebrity, the Wicked cast, for instance, that were reasonably, air quote, fit or looking of a healthy body weight, and they come in looking where you can see their bones through their skin, I am not shaming that person if I raise the question, hey, what's going on here? This might not be the healthiest case. And that whole thing just glossed over with the body positivity trope, but no, it doesn't have to be positive all the time, and it shouldn't be if someone's health is on the line. And it goes the opposite way too. I mean, I am not shaming someone for being obese or overweight, and that's a lot of nuance, and it's a tough thing, but it's just like, listen, it doesn't matter if you're comfortable in your skin. You, at that particular range of your health, you are doing damage on a organ level, on a longevity level, and you could, I'm not saying that anything would be better for you, other than the fact that you technically, by the data, conclusively will be healthier if you are not that way. Same thing if you were just starving yourself while on peptides and coming out looking like Crypt Keeper's wife. And it's just like, dude, stop it. Right. Find some moderation, but also too, like, know that even if someone criticizes something, that doesn't make them a bigot. They're just either confused or they're concerned about you, and that doesn't make them wrong either. So we've lost the plot on being able to actually have direct conversations with each other a lot of the time, and it's very unfortunate. But like you said, having true friends, true family, people that you can actually talk openly with, and know that, like, even if you open a tough conversation, like, I am not condemning you. I am just trying to understand. Or I want you to at least understand that I have concerns. Can we talk about them together? We can at least try. But
yeah, I think the sort of like bow wrapping on that whole thought and discussion is you can, like you said, approach things with a question, and it doesn't mean that if someone, looks excessively overweight or underweight or whatever, like I said, you don't know the full picture. You don't know what their blood work is. You don't know if what else is going on. You can make certain assumptions, and we're not sharing any of this to say you need to look a certain way. It's more that there are just norms within people's heights and ethnicities and all those types of things that exist from just like being a species, like when you look at any other animal. And there's no segment of...
Yeah, we have healthy ranges and we have unhealthy ranges.
The end,
not refutable, and it doesn't matter what you feel or what your dignity has attached to that or not. Like, that is the fact. And that's where we're getting very much lost along the way, is that people are like, well, it doesn't matter what that means. I feel this way. So it's like, well, Okay, but science says otherwise. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
that doesn't make me an asshole or a bigot for being concerned about your health. Now,
Right.
like I said, there's always a needs nuance. It always needs to have tact, and you, no one should be out there being like, hey, just pointing at everyone like, hey, you're underweight or you're overweight. Don't say that. Like, we're not saying
Right.
that. But
Right.
if someone in your orbit, someone that you actually can have a more direct conversation that's heartfelt,
Mhm.
then we need to be having more of those conversations. We don't need to be like shooting from the hip every single time. But if it checks out and it should be talked about, it needs to. And if that
Yeah.
person is close enough to you and that love is shared, then they will at least have an open enough mind to at least hear you out, even if they don't have any actionable stuff behind it.
Yeah, no, totally. Well said. I think that's the gripe of 2025. Let's hit the same.
Well, let's
Christmas
not
switch up and
yeah, let's pull ourselves out of this muck real quick
Mhm.
and tell me what you're looking forward to Christmas this year.
Yeah, I think in the upcoming year, my hope is basically the inverse of what we described, like more normalcy around accepting that people are outside of these norms, ourselves included in some way, shape, or form, and that our whole collective vision is just like better together as a community and less about any of the other, low hanging shit. Just like, are we moving forward together as a unit? And I think, certain cultures like really capture that super well. Like Gym 5 does a fabulous job, right? Like call out to the strength show and just some of the vibe and energy around that, and just like channeling more of that. And it doesn't need to be bigger and more grand. I hope that there are offshoots that happen naturally from those big types of gatherings. Like people find their own little nooks of tribes, and it just gets more people excited to fucking exist. Like be able to walk 15 miles a day in Japan and not fret about it or feel destroyed, or go play pickleball or go do a first form workout and just be like, oh, is this 0% of how I normally train? I'll be fine. Like that kind of physical general preparedness, that people would zoom out a little bit more and just like simplify. That is my 2026 hope.
I can appreciate that.
What is your vision casting if it's not the exact same?
I mean, it would be eerily similar. It's just simplifying everything, just working on stuff that you can stick with and then scale over a longer timeline, and just we're going the opposite direction. But if I could just say, hey, be comfortable with the idea that the good shit takes a long time and it gets better along the way, but you need to be happy with the journey, not the destination. We need to get out of this, get something in 12 weeks stuff, and just get some really good habits that are going to last a lifetime and compound for a lifetime, and just start trudging in that direction. Surround yourself with some good people and just keep it simple. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my best friends, we talk a lot about the notion of arrival fallacy and how it just sets you up for such dreadful experiences at your estimated arrival of whatever that means. And this is particularly true in your fitness and wellness journey, as plenty of things can come up and go down. And just like you said, losing the need for that sort of like, I made it to this point, like really embracing, enjoying the journey of day to day, experiences. So
yeah. I mean, they say satisfaction is the death of desire. So and I can tell you from firsthand experience that the other side of like the check mark, the flag at the end of, say, putting on the strength show, it was electric preparing everything and then doing. But once it was done, you're like, well, fuck. Like in a way, I almost wish that was like a feedback loop. Like the show never actually came. I try to keep amassing things to do and that fervor and that interest. So it's the same thing, but in much more truncated fashion, much more granular fashion. Just find the direction that you need to go. We'll use everyone's health and wellness for example. Move more, be more positively surrounded by people, and resistance train your body and have a decent enough diet. They're all very simple things. They're not hard to do. They just don't really start showing their compounding interest for a little while. And you just need to be okay moving in that direction and then getting little side quests along the way. And it's a great thing. So, and if I could say anything in terms of resolutions for next year, I'm just going to call it now. We're getting this podcast sponsored. We're upgrading everything. We will have a space. Not that we don't have a space now, but we will have a bespoke space for what we need. We're getting this shit sponsored, and it's just going to be a great 2026.
That's right. The rigs will be rigging. The fucking coffee will be brewing.
Yeah, the long and thick Zord will fucking be
finally be born.
Yeah. So it'll be great.
Right on. Well, in closing out fashion, we want to bring some attention to upcoming interview with
Mr. Brandon Lee. So it's a great addition. He is a eloquent, very thoughtful, concise speaker in the military, paramilitary, defense space, and how fitness has changed his life, his mind, his mentality, and how he continues to perform in various roles in those operations. And his experiences have been wild. So he's a really, really cool dude. And he's also had just a ton of really amazing insights on the mentality side of things, therapy, what is actual therapy for someone in the fitness space, what is not therapy, especially when it comes to heavy trauma via servicemen and women. So he's got a lot of cool takes. So I'm very excited to have him on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So to all of our listeners, if you made it this far, we love and appreciate you. And we want to keep, putting out stuff that you guys enjoy listening to and that meets some cool itches that need to be scratched. And so we're looking forward to that. Excited to have that happen. So be on the lookout in the upcoming weeks. Otherwise, man, we're close to a fucking full year of the LNT. And so, we're going to keep on cruising and ripping along. And you have any other closing thoughts for our band of misfits?
That's it, man. Just be safe be safe this holiday season. Be good to your people, and don't use January 1 as your jump off point for anything. Just get started now.
That's right. Hell yeah. Right on. Well, until next time on the Long and Thick.
Till next time, baby.
Toodaloo, motherfuckers. Bye.
Bye.